d'État, ministre des Fonds et de la politique régionale et hôte de la 11e session du Forum urbain mondial en Pologne, Son Excellence Małgorzata Jarusinska-Jedinak, la déclaration de la directrice exécutive d'ONU Environnement, Madame Inger Andersen, la déclaration de la directrice exécutive d'ONU Habitat, Madame Maïmouna Maud Sharif, la déclaration du chef de la division de la gouvernance et des droits de l'homme de l'Union africaine, département des affaires politiques, de la paix et de la sécurité, M. Isaka Garba, la déclaration de la secrétaire générale de CGLU, Madame Emilia Seize, la déclaration du prix Nobel de la paix, le professeur Mohamed Younous, la déclaration de l'ambassadeur régional de la bonne volonté de l'ONU Habitat pour l'Afrique, l'international français de football, Blaise Matuidi, la déclaration de la représentante des jeunes Fridays for Future Uganda, Madame Léa Namugerwa, le discours du représentant du Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement. Et puis, après cette cérémonie, ces prises de parole, nous allons ouvrir la page de la cérémonie de remise des prix au lauréat du parchemin d'honneur d'ONU Habitat par la directrice exécutive d'ONU Habitat, Mme Maïmouna Maud Sharif, et le représentant de M. le Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement. Il y aura les autorités des nouvelles communautés urbaines d'Égypte, en dessous, qui vont recevoir ces prix. Il y aura également l'association Shining Hope for Communities du Kenya, ainsi que Baoudi, un représentant de Baoudi City, en République populaire de Chine. Il y aura également la vidéo de publication conjointe ONU Habitat, Programme des Nations Unies pour l'environnement, intitulée « Inspirer l'action en faveur de la marche et du cyclisme en Afrique » avec Rob de Jong, chef de l'unité de mobilité durable du Programme des Nations Unies pour l'environnement, André Dikous, chef de la section des services urbains de base d'ONU Habitat. Et puis, la dernière cérémonie dans la salle, ce sont les cérémonies de décoration et de remise de prix. Il y aura la remise du prix concours Ville propre, présidé par le directeur général du FECOM, M. Philippe Camille Akwa. Il y a un autre concours d'idées urbaines, présidé par le ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain. Et puis, il y aura la décoration. Non, cette phase a été supprimée. Je voudrais inviter les uns et les autres à bien vouloir vous lever pour l'exécution de l'hymne national au Cameroun par la chorale Tribute Sister.
O Cameroon, thou cradle of our fathers, holy shrine wherein amidst the now repose, thy tears and blood and sweat thy soil did water, on thy hills and valleys once thy tillage rose. Dear fatherland, thy what no tongue can tell, how can we ever pay thy due? Thy welfare we will win in toil and love and peace. We'll be to thy name ever true. Land of promise, land of glory, thou of life and joy are only store. Thine be honor, thine devotion, and deep endearment forevermore. O Cameroun, berceau de nos ancêtres, va debout et jaloux de ta liberté. Comme un soleil, ton drapeau fier doit être un symbole ardent de foi et d'unité. Que tous tes enfants du nord au sud, de l'est à l'ouest, à tout amour, te servir, que ce soit leur seul but, pour remplir le devoir toujours. chère patrie, terre chérie, tu es notre seul et vrai bonheur, notre joie et notre vie. À toi l'amour et le grand honneur.
Je vous invite à écouter l'allocution de bienvenue du maire de la ville de Yaoundé, ici représenté.
Excellence, Madame le ministre, représentante personnelle du Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, Madame la directrice exécutive de l'ONU Habitat, distingués invités en vos rangs et grades respectifs, je voudrais ici, à l'occasion de cette importante rencontre, que dis-je, à l'occasion de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat qui se célèbre ce 4 octobre 2021, vous souhaiter à vous tous une chaleureuse bienvenue dans cette mythique salle de fête du Conseil régional du Centre. Madame la directrice exécutive, je voudrais vous transmettre le salut du maire de la ville, du conseil de communauté et de l'ensemble des populations de la ville de Yaoundé à l'occasion de votre visite dans notre cher et beau pays, le Cameroun. Je voudrais souhaiter à tous un heureux séjour à Yaoundé, cité capitale, ville aux 7 collines, un séjour agréable dans cette ville qui nous est chère à tous. Je voudrais enfin, au terme de cette rencontre, de cette importante rencontre, que chacun de vous regagne son pays dans la paix. Certainement, j'en suis sûr, avec le souvenir de cette belle capitale en pleine transformation. Je voudrais, pour la fin, exprimer, n'est-ce pas, à tous mes souhaits d'excellent travail à l'occasion de cette rencontre pour que vive l'ONU Habitat, vive le Cameroun et son illustre chef, son Excellence Paul Biya. Je vous remercie.
Pour conduire la suite de la cérémonie, je voudrais introduire ici Susanna Price, qui est responsable de la communication à ONU Habitat. Ce sera dans la langue de Shakespeare.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oboum, and thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We're very pleased to be here in your beautiful green city. As you heard, the theme of this year's World Habitat Day is accelerating urban action for a carbon-free world, and this is really a key priority for the United Nations. So we'll now hear a special World Habitat Day message from the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, which is read by the UN Habitat Executive Director, Madam Maimouna Mohamed Sharif.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Mayors, Excellencies, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to deliver the message on the World Habitat Day 2021 from our Secretary General. Start. On this World Habitat Day, cities and towns across the globe are facing and fighting the dual crisis of COVID-19 and climate change. Home to 4.5 billion people today, they are projected to grow by almost 50% by 2050. By mid-century, over 1.6 billion urban residents may have to survive through average summertime highs of 35 degrees Celsius. This year's theme, Accelerating Urban Action for a Carbon-Free World, highlights how cities and towns are at the core of climate action to keep the 1.5 degrees goal within reach. 3/4 of the infrastructure that will exist in 2050 has yet to be built. Economic recovery plans offers a generational opportunity to put climate action, renewable energy, and sustainable development at the heart of cities' strategies and policies. City leadership in using green materials and constructing energy-efficient, resilient buildings powered by renewable energy is essential to achieve net zero emission by 2050. The benefits are enormous: less pollution and climate risk, more jobs, and better health and well-being. As population grow in emerging economies, demands for transport, which accounts for nearly 20% of global carbon emissions, is multiplying. Cities are working to ensure that this demand is met by zero-emission vehicles and public transit. We need a global moratorium on internal combustion engines by 2040 at the latest to underpin these efforts. On World Habitat Day, let us work together to harness the transformative potential of sustainable urban action for the benefit of our planet and all people. That's the end of the statement. Thank you so much.
Est-ce qu'on peut accueillir cette déclaration du secrétaire général des Nations Unies en agitant les petits drapeaux des pays membres des Nations Unies qui sont dans la salle? Merci.
Thank you. Very nice to see all the flags. And thank you so much, Executive Director, for reading that very important message from the UN Secretary General. We will now see a video message from the First Lady of Turkey, Her Excellency Emin Erdogan, who's extremely active on waste issues and environment issues, and who recently received the Wastewise Cities Global Champion Award from UN Habitat.
Hanımefendiler, beyefendiler, Birleşmiş Milletler Habitat Direktörlüğü'ne, Kamerun hükümetinin kıymetli temsilcilerine, programa davetleri nedeniyle teşekkür ediyor, tüm katılımcıları sevgi ve saygıyla selamlıyorum. 4 Ekim Dünya Habitat Gününüzü kutluyor. Bu anlamlı günün dünyamızın geleceği adına hayırlara vesile olmasını diliyorum. Türkiye-Habitat ilişkilerinin tarihi bir geçmişi var. 1996 yılında İstanbul, Habitat 2'ye ev sahipliği yapmış, bu etkinlik küresel çapta ses getirmişti. Girişimin savunduğu değerlerin görünürlüğünü arttırmıştı. Kasım ayında Glasgow'da yapılacak COP26 toplantısında ise karbonsuz bir dünya için şehir eyleminin hızlandırılması çağrısının da etkin bir global hareket olacağına inanıyorum. Değerli katılımcılar, çevre raporları iklim değişikliğinin insan kaynaklı olduğu konusunda büyük bir alarm veriyor. Artan şehirleşme, sürdürülebilir olmayan üretim ve tüketim modelleri, karbon ayak izimizin oranını ne yazık ki her geçen gün daha da arttırıyor. Bugün %55 oranında olan kentli nüfusun 2050'lerde %70'lere çıkacağı öngörüsü karbon emisyonunun azaltılması yolunda acil çözümlerin gerekliliğine bize işaret ediyor. Dünyanın geleceğini tehdit eden bu büyük mesele karşısında ülkelerin tek başına hareket etmesi yetmiyor. Küresel bir eylem planının ivedilikle hayata geçmesi gerekiyor. Yarın çok geç olabilir. Küresel ısınma ile ilgili gidişata yön verecek son nesil olduğumuzu asla unutmamalıyız. Yeşil enerji, döngüsel ekonomi, temiz teknoloji gibi çözüm metotlarını aktif hale getirmeliyiz. Şehirlerimizi çevre dostu bir bilinçle yönetmeli ve tasarlamalıyız. Biz Türkiye olarak 2017 yılından bu yana ulusal çapta sıfır atık projesi başlattık. Önce kamu kurumlarımızda başlayan atık ayrıştırma çalışmaları dalga dalga topluma yayıldı. Önemli kazanımlar elde ettik. Sıfır atık mavi kapsamında ise deniz temizliğimizi derinleştirdik. Sanatçılarımız farkındalık çalışmalarına destek verdi. Çocuklarımıza eğitim programları hazırladık. Küresel çapta da hükümetimizle, sivil toplumumuzla, iş dünyamızla iklim değişikliğinin etkilerini azaltacak her türlü çevre çalışması için el birliği yapmaya hazırız. Son Birleşmiş Milletler Genel Kurulu'nda Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımızın ifade ettiği üzere Paris Anlaşması da meclisimizde oylamaya sunulacak. Çevre ve iklim krizi elbette hükümetlerin, uluslararası organizasyonların olduğu gibi bireylerin de sorumluluğunda bir konu. Zira bu mesele ancak bireysel davranışların değişmesi ile köklü çözüme kavuşabilir. Bizi çevre ile yeniden dost kılacak bir zihinsel dönüşüme ihtiyacımız var. Çevrenin bize verilmiş bir emanet olduğunu hiç unutmadan bireyden endüstriye uzanan bir bilinç hareketi gerçekleştirmeliyiz. Tekstil sektörü bu ihtiyacı açık bir şekilde ortaya koyuyor. Zira tekstil sektörünün çevre konusunda karnesi ne yazık ki hiç iyi değil. Karbon emisyonunun %10'unu tek başına üretiyor. Yani uluslararası uçuşların ürettiğinden daha da fazla. Su kaynaklarının kullanımından da en büyük ikinci tüketici durumunda. Sadece bir kot pantolonun üretilmesi için 10,8 litre su kullanılıyor. Bütün bunlara karşılık her yıl üretilen tekstil ürünlerinin %85'i çöpe gidiyor. Ürünlerin her yıkanışında yılda 500 bin ton mikrofiber yeryüzü sularına karışıyor. Bu 50 milyar plastik şişe demektir. Mikroplastiklerin doğada kaybolmadığını hepimiz biliyoruz. Balıkların dahi bu döngüden etkilendiği görülüyor. Yani soframıza kadar geliyor. Hülasa, üretimden tüketimine kadar her bilinçsiz adım çevre felaketini kaçınılmaz kılıyor. Değerli katılımcılar, Covid-19 hepimize yeni bir yaşam biçiminin anahtarlarını verdi. Söz gelimi uzaktan çalışma deneyimi, çevre dostu bir iş yaşamının tasarlanmasında yeni bir ufka işaret edebilir. Ulaşımdan klima kullanımına uzanan bu sürecin yeniden planlanması çevre adına yeni kazanımlar için bir imkandır. Daha iyi bir ekolojik gelecek için sosyologların, psikologların, iletişimcilerin hep birlikte çalışmaları gerektiğini düşünüyorum. Bu çabaların yeni bir yaşam kültürünün inşasına katkı vermesini umut ediyorum. Çevre konusu, soluduğumuz hava, içtiğimiz su gibi yaşamsal bir konudur. Bir kriz olmaktan çıkarmak da hepimizin ortak sorumluluğudur. Dünyadaki bu yeni dönüşüme hazırlıklı olmak, sıfıra yarış vizyonu ile karbon emisyonunu azaltacak süreci hızlandırmak, bireysel ve küresel işbirliğini zorunlu kılıyor. Bu düşüncelerle Habitat girişiminin küresel çağrısına ses veriyor, biz de varız diyoruz. Gerek 4 Ekim Habitat Günü, gerekse bizim de katılmayı planladığımız COP26 toplantısının şimdiden hayırlı olmasını umut ediyor. Tüm katılımcıları sevgi ve muhabbetle selamlıyorum. Kalın sağlıcakla.
I think we all need to listen to that very powerful message from Her Excellency, the First Lady of Turkey, calling for a global plan and warning that tomorrow will just be too late. As you know, the whole United Nations family works closely together on the issue of combating the climate crisis, and we have an excellent partnership in particular with the United Nations Environment Programme, which, like UN Habitat, has its headquarters in Nairobi. Therefore, I'm very pleased to introduce the Executive Director of UNEP, Ms. Inga Anderson, who is live on the line to address this global observance of World Habitat Day. Executive Director, can you hear us?
You can hear me too.
Please go ahead.
Thank you so very much. And to Your Excellency, Prime Minister Ngutu, and of course to my dear sister, Maimouna Mohammed Sharif, it's a great pleasure to be with you today. Distinguished dignitaries present here today, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and dare I say colleagues and friends. The science is clear. We're putting extreme pressure on the planet. The evidence we see with our own eyes is clear. The damage we've caused is harming human health, peace, and prosperity. The triple planetary crisis of climate change, nature, and biodiversity loss and pollution is all around us, affecting every aspect of our lives within every country. Heat waves and storms, food insecurity, dirty air, and water bodies choked with chemicals, and the garbage of our way of life. And the science is also clear that all of this is caused by the human influence and much of it happens in our cities. Urban areas account for over 70% of greenhouse gas emissions. Unsustainable consumption and production in cities spreads its impact into nature, which sends the impacts back with interest. Even an optimistic target of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees increase in global temperatures could cause global shifts that leave cities facing the challenges of sea level rise, an increase in tropical cyclones, more storm surges and heat waves, and that puts people and infrastructure at risk. But cities have also demonstrated leadership in making ambitious commitments for climate mitigation and adaptation. They've used their influence and jurisdiction to cut emissions through urban planning and design, through regulating polluting sectors and investing funds in long-term sustainable solutions. The solutions don't only slow the triple planetary crisis outside the cities, they slow it on the entire planet. They bring benefits into cities, climate action, for example, in industry and transport, improves air quality, bringing nature back into cities and reduces the need for mechanical cooling or better handling of storm waters, provides clean drinking water, and increases green space for recreation. So friends, all of these solutions are crucial, particularly in Africa, which has been and will be hit the hardest by climate change. We must prioritize these solutions and do so in the context of the COVID-19 recovery. When UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres recently launched the Our Common Agenda report, he stated that a green and sustainable and fair COVID-19 recovery is critical to setting the world on course towards a 1.5-degree pathway. In this recovery, we have the opportunity to reflect and reset how we live and how we interact and how we rebuild our cities. The creation of green and resilient cities is central to the African Union's Recovery Action Plan. But we need to do more. The African continent is experiencing rapid growth and urbanization, leading to more infrastructure investments, often exceeding the planning capacity in some cities. And that puts a few key sectors on the spot, including energy, buildings, and transport, in addressing the impacts of urbanization and delivering solutions for green COVID-19 recovery. The future of our planet depends on national, regional, and local governments and organizations, communities and academic institutions, the private sector, and all relevant stakeholders working together to create sustainable, carbon neutral, inclusive cities and towns. We must work to strengthen the capacity of our local governments, to spur multi-level governance and pursue a green and resilient, inclusive economic recovery. Friends, we can steer towards that low carbon resilient pathway and advance sustainable development goals, but only if we act now. As I mentioned before, focusing on energy, transport, and buildings is important. And all societies require energy services to meet basic human needs, but also the associated emissions that are caused, but also the associated emissions are a major cause of climate change. In Africa, for example, cement production is expected to more than triple, while steel production could increase more than sixfold. So equal collaboration between sectors is key to addressing cross-cutting issues. Look at cities. We often see that essential urban functions are managed in isolation. The predominant urban development model is outdated, not in tune with the different trends, but the pandemic highlighted the need to collaborate for human health and environment across sectors. In order to address the challenge of air pollution and carbon emissions, we need to work together and develop holistic joint solutions. Furthermore, integrating urban systems create more effective management of resources between sectors and a greater urban systems performance at less cost. Smart technologies can help cities meet the challenges of efficiency and systems integration. So, on World Habitat Day, we need to recognize that cities are both part of the problem, but also very much part of the solution in solving the triple planetary crisis, the crisis of climate, the crisis of biodiversity loss, and the crisis of pollution. We must rethink how cities are designed, how they are built, and how we live in them, and how we manage them better. And if we do this, we slow the triple planetary crisis and make our cities better, greener, and safer, and more sustainable places to live. I thank you for this opportunity and wish you all a very good World Habitat Day.
So much. Thank you so much, Executive Director of UNEP, for outlining these important holistic climate solutions, particularly during the COVID-19 recovery. Next year, UN Habitat will hold the 11th World Urban Forum, the world's premier global conference on cities, in Katowice, Poland, and you are all warmly invited to come. We will now hear from Poland's Secretary of State, Ministry of Funds and Regional Policy, Her Excellency Małgorzata Jaroszynska-Jedniak.
Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Secretary General, dear Executive Director, dear Maimuna, distinguished guests of the World Habitat Day, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure and honor to speak to you today during the World Habitat Day. This day is a great initiative of the UN Habitat to remind the world that we all have the power and responsibility to shape the future of our cities and towns. I think that this year's theme, Accelerating Urban Action for a Carbon-Free World, is especially close to our hearts and a very urgent issue to address. It's also the very last moment for us to make a brave change. We believe that the World Urban Forum could be an excellent opportunity to discuss the challenges of contemporary urbanization and to promote the sustainable transformation of cities. As you probably know, Poland will be hosting the next World Urban Forum. It will take place from 26th to 30th of June 2022 in the city of Katowice. The 11th session of World Urban Forum will take place in the Central Eastern European city for the first time in history. It's the region that faced a real challenge of political transformation in the early 1990s. It was a time of economic political changes. I believe we have a great story to tell. Katowice is a unique Polish city with rich history, which recently culminated in transformation from a center of the mining industry to an important business, culture, and green lifestyle center. We are organizing the World Urban Forum under the slogan, Transforming Our Cities for a Better Urban Future. Transforming from the car-centric cities, full of concreted spaces, preclusive and inaccessible, to the human-friendly, green, accessible cities, which give priority to the pedestrians, bicycles, and public transport. In Katowice, we want to talk about just transformation, about changes that leave no one and no place behind. The process of transformation must also take into account the events of the last couple of months related with the COVID-19 pandemic. What we know from the statistical data, over 90% of the confirmed coronavirus cases came from the urban areas. The cities face also the biggest cost concerning the fight with the pandemic. Therefore, in our discussions on the future of cities, we should not only think about just governance and the green side of the cities, but also to involve health issue and resilience to other types of crises. As regards other aspects of World Urban Forum, very important for us is the issue of accessibility in the cities. In Poland, through the governmental program Accessibility Plus, we actively work to ensure free access to goods, services, and the possibility to participate in the social and public life of the people with special needs. We not only want to include this issue in the World Urban Forum program, but we are also very much concerned about the logistical or technical accessibility of World Urban Forum. We want to ensure the widest possible participation in the event of the people with disabilities. Last but not least, I would like to say that the World Urban Forum is not only a huge conference, it's a kind of global platform of cooperation and exchange of experience, which will last long after the World Urban Forum is finished. It's also the mobilization to take concrete actions for the cities. I really do hope that Poland and Katowice will go down in the World Urban Forum history. I truly hope that you will accept our invitation and become a part of this history. Let's meet for the inauguration of the World Urban Forum in Katowice. Thank you very much for your attention.
And UN Habitat as well very much seconds that and warmly welcomes you all to come to what the Minister has called the Global Platform of Cooperation. We now turn to the Executive Director of the United Nations Human Settlements Programme, or UN Habitat, the co-host of this global observance, Madam Maimouna Mohamed Sharif.
Thank you, Susie. The Honorable Minister, Madam Celestine, my sister, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Mayors, Excellencies, my colleagues from United Nations, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning to all of you. I would like to welcome all honorable guests, both here with us in person in Yaoundé or joining us online to the 2021 Global Observance of World Habitat Day. I would like to start by thanking our generous host, the government of the Republic of Cameroon and the city of Yaoundé, for organizing this excellent global observance. My congratulations for a week of related events. This World Habitat Day, we are calling for urgent action for all of us to double our efforts towards a carbon-free world. We are already seeing the drastic impact of global warming on changing weather patterns. These changes have led to increased flooding and severe heat wave, threatening life, property, and ecosystems. All over the world, it is in human settlements and cities we have to deal with the direct impact of climate change. We now have increasing number of climate refugees and the increased spread of disease that is faced by communities who are least responsible for the climate crisis. Meanwhile, despite the best intention of Paris Agreement, global greenhouse emissions continue to rise. If we are to avoid the worst case scenario, scientists advise that global greenhouse gas emissions will need to drop by half by 2030, which must reach net zero around 2050. If we reach net zero by 2040, the chance of holding global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius is considerably higher. But how do we do this? Fortunately, many of the solutions already lie within our grasp, and many of them are in cities, as the Coalition for Urban Transition advises. By taking strategic action in our 4 key sectors: electricity, buildings, mobility, and waste management, cities could achieve 90% or more of their fair share of 2030 emission targets and build the knowledge they need to reach net zero by 2050. I would like to briefly look at these 4 crucial urban sectors. First, electricity. Cities are responsible for around 70% of global energy consumption. We need to decarbonize the energy grid, while utilities and regulators need to play a central role. Cities can encourage the build-up of renewable sources of energy. Since 2009, the cost of renewable electricity has plummeted for both solar and wind power, and capital costs are projected to fall by a quarter or more over the next several years. Governments, should look to energy sources such as sunshine, wind, geothermal, and even municipal organic waste. Local governments have an important role to play in adopting smart grid systems and promoting decentralized energy that uses, for example, rooftop solar to produce cleaner and more accessible energy. Second, on buildings. In buildings around the world, heating and cooling account for between 35 and 60% of total energy demand. We need to ensure that new buildings optimize energy use through techniques such as natural lighting, proper insulation, and digital technology. New buildings should also be constructed using fewer and more sustainable materials. At the same time, we need to retrofit our existing buildings to make them more resource efficient. Making buildings more efficient not only cut carbon emissions, it could also produce some 79 million new and greener jobs by 2030. Let's look at mobility. Transport is the fastest growing source of emissions. We need to encourage people to leave their cars at home and use public transport or non-motorized transportation such as bicycles or even walking. Cities can take action by adopting solutions such as bus rapid transit and providing facilities for non-motorized transportation and e-mobility. Let's look at the waste management. Better waste management also reduces emission of carbon and methane, another key greenhouse gas. By recycling products instead of dumping them in landfills, we avoid greenhouse gases and reduce the demand for energy, raw materials, and fossil fuels for new products. Let's look at the planning, the compact urban development. As called for by the new urban agenda, we need to build more compact cities that are well planned and designed for low emissions. When a city is compact and provides for mixed uses, people can walk to more destinations. When a city supports a transit-oriented development, public transportation becomes more economically viable. UN Habitat and partners are helping cities around the world to take low-carbon action in these key sectors and often in an integrated way. For example, through the German IKI-funded project Urban Pathways, UN Habitat is supporting governments in India, Brazil, Kenya, and Vietnam to develop national and local action plans to boost low-carbon basic services in mobility, energy, and solid waste management. The EU-funded Solution Plus project supports 10 cities across 4 continents in their transition to electric and shared mobility. And together with ICLE, UN Habitat has helped more than 60 cities in 8 countries develop low-emission urban development strategies and begin through the EC-funded Urban-led project. However, much more remains to be done. Today, as an executive director of UN Habitat and as a former mayor myself in Penang, I call on mayors and city managers to accelerate climate action by joining global initiatives. This includes 1. The City Race to Zero. There are cities that submit ambitious plans to reach net zero emission by 2050, and a group of such cities will attend the Climate Summit COP26. The Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy. Now, with 11,600 members, this is the largest group of mayors that have committed to climate action and we are proud to be a core partner. The Waste-Wise Cities campaign, I launched this campaign in 2018 with Kenya's President, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, and today it has become a global network of 200 cities and local governments. I also call on the national governments to include urban actions in their climate plan as they finalize and begin to implement a new round of nationally determined contributions, or in short, NDCs. And I would like to see financial institutions and climate facilities provide greater access to local governments and urban stakeholders to take climate action in cities. This is a member state commitment, especially recognized in the new urban agenda. We must take bold and ambitious climate action, making them an integral part of how we recover from the global COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, this recovery offers a golden opportunity to take action. Our sister agency, UNEP, estimates that a green pandemic recovery could cut up to 25% of predicted 2030 greenhouse gas emission and bring the world closer to meeting its climate targets. Rapid action to cut global emission in half by 2030 is essential to securing a fairer and greener future. Our cities and towns must lead the way by developing ambitious climate plans. I urge you all to use the World Habitat Day as a way to renew our commitments to work towards a net zero world. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Merci beaucoup.
De nombreuses pistes pour réduire les émissions de gaz à effet de serre évoquée dans sa déclaration par Mme Maïmouna Morsharif, qui, je vous le rappelle, est une ancienne maire de la ville de Penang en Malaisie. Nous introduisons actuellement, nous invitons à ce pupitre le chef de la division de la gouvernance et des droits de l'homme de l'Union africaine, chef du département des affaires politiques, de la paix et de la sécurité, M. Isaka Garba en personne.
Excellences, Madame le ministre, représentante du Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement de la République du Cameroun, Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du gouvernement de la République du Cameroun, Madame la directrice exécutive de ONU Habitat, Monsieur le coordinateur du système, le coordinateur résident du système des Nations Unies au Cameroun, Monsieur le ministre du Développement urbain de la République arabe d'Égypte, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs, chefs de mission diplomatique et organisations internationales accréditées à la République du Cameroun, Madame Emilia Seyss, secrétaire général CGLIA Monde, Monsieur le secrétaire général CGLIA Afrique, Mesdames et Messieurs les représentants des régions, Monsieur le représentant du maire de Yaoundé, Mesdames et Messieurs les représentants des ordres professionnels, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, tout protocole dûment suivi, bonjour. C'est pour moi un grand honneur de prendre la parole à cette occasion solennelle de la célébration de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat au nom de son Excellence Monsieur l'ambassadeur Bankole Adeoye, commissaire aux affaires politiques, à la paix et à la sécurité de l'Union africaine. Le commissaire Bankole aurait souhaité être présent ici dans cette belle ville hospitalière de Yaoundé, pour s'adresser à vous personnellement, Excellence, mais malheureusement, des événements aussi importants que cette célébration l'ont empêché d'être des vôtres. Il m'a donc chargé, Excellence, de vous transmettre ces chaleureuses et différentes salutations, ainsi que ses vœux de réussite pour la présente célébration de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat. Permettez-moi, Excellence, au nom de la Commission de l'Union africaine, de remercier le gouvernement camerounais et ONU Habitat pour l'invitation adressée à la Commission de l'Union africaine pour prendre part à la présente célébration de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat 2021, ainsi que pour les commodités qui nous ont été offertes durant notre séjour à Yaoundé. Excellences, distingués participants, mesdames et messieurs, le thème choisi pour la célébration de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat cette année 2021 ici à Yaoundé est en écho à l'alerte très forte donnée par les experts du groupe d'experts intergouvernemental sur l'évolution du climat, sur l'urgence climatique. Les actions en cours de réalisation dans le cadre des contributions définies au niveau national pour la mise en œuvre de l'accord de Paris sont sur une trajectoire menant à un réchauffement climatique de l'ordre de 3 degrés d'ici la fin du siècle, alors qu'il est établi qu'au-delà de 2 degrés Celsius de réchauffement de la planète, les événements climatiques deviennent difficilement prévisibles. Bien que l'Afrique n'ait pas contribué à la situation actuelle, elle subit néanmoins de graves conséquences des changements climatiques. Comme l'ont montré des scientifiques de l'ONU, des millions d'Africains ont déjà connu des vagues de chaleur sans précédent, des épisodes de précipitations extrêmes et la montée du niveau des océans, des changements qui ont une incidence sur les moyens de subsistance, exacerbent l'insécurité alimentaire, intensifient la compétition pour les ressources et raréfient les ressources d'eau et accélèrent la migration. À titre d'exemple, nous avons connu les cyclones Haïda et les cyclones Kenneth. Comme vous le savez sans doute, l'Union africaine est mobilisée au plus haut niveau sur ces questions à travers le comité des chefs d'État africains sur les changements climatiques et au niveau ministériel à travers la conférence africaine des ministres de l'Environnement, AMSEN. La proposition de l'Union africaine est de travailler sur ces questions par grands bassins géoclimatiques afin de mieux contextualiser les problématiques climatiques en fonction des dynamiques de peuplement et d'évolution des écosystèmes et de mieux calibrer les réponses apportées face aux enjeux, à savoir le bassin du Congo, le Sahel, l'ensemble méditerranéen et le bassin de l'océan Indien. Lors de la conférence des États partis à l'accord cadre des Nations Unies sur les changements climatiques tenue à Marrakech, au Maroc, en novembre 2016, 3 des 4 commissions regroupant les pays africains suivant la logique géoclimatique ont été mises en place. La commission du bassin du Congo, la commission du Sahel et la commission des pays insulaires de l'océan Indien. Cette approche a l'avantage de promouvoir une approche intégrée autour du concept du développement durable en reliant les enjeux climatiques aux enjeux qui lui sont connexes, comme ceux de l'urbanisation ou de la sauvegarde et de la protection de la biodiversité. Excellences, distingués participants, mesdames et messieurs, l'Union africaine est consciente de ce que les villes sont un des acteurs majeurs à prendre en compte si l'on a le souci dans une trajectoire de développement durable et résiliente, et ce, d'autant que la population continentale africaine sera majoritairement urbaine d'ici 2030. C'est la raison pour laquelle elle salue la célébration de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat et tient à féliciter ONU Habitat et le gouvernement du Cameroun pour l'excellente organisation de cette célébration. L'Union africaine va rester très attentive aux conclusions des travaux organisés au cours de cette célébration, préoccupée qu'elle est que l'Afrique que nous voulons, promue par l'agenda 2063, s'inscrive résolument dans une trajectoire de développement durable et résilient. Au cours de cette année, avec l'appui de ONU Habitat et de la CEA, l'Union africaine a offert aux États membres des séminaires virtuels de renforcement des capacités sur la mise en œuvre du cadre régional africain de mise en œuvre du nouvel agenda urbain en Afrique, qui accorde, comme vous le savez, une place de choix au rôle des autorités locales et régionales dans l'élaboration des plans de réduction des gaz à effet de serre dans les centres urbains en Afrique. Tout récemment, l'Union africaine, ONU Habitat, la CEA et CGLIA Afrique ont conjointement développé une stratégie sur l'exploitation de la valeur de l'urbanisation durable en Afrique. Ceci en prélude à la préparation d'un dialogue de haut niveau sur le sujet en 2022. En outre, l'Union africaine, à travers le département des affaires politiques, paix et sécurité et le département de l'agriculture, du développement durable, de l'économie bleue et de l'environnement durable, a pris des mesures pour développer une approche à l'échelle de la Commission afin de prévenir et d'atténuer les risques sécuritaires liés au climat sur le continent à travers la création d'un groupe de travail sur le climat et la sécurité. Mesdames et messieurs, au niveau de la 31e réunion ordinaire virtuelle du bureau de la conférence ministérielle africaine sur l'environnement, tenue le 7 juin 2021, a reconnu que la COP26 va offrir une opportunité pour les pays africains d'accroître leurs ambitions dans la lutte contre le changement climatique et à encourager le groupe africain des négociateurs sur le changement climatique à continuer à défendre les intérêts du continent. Avant de terminer mes propos, je tiens à féliciter le gouvernement et le peuple de la République du Cameroun et ONU Habitat d'avoir organisé cette célébration mémorable de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat à cette année 2021. Je vous remercie pour votre aimable attention.
Thank you very much for those very important statements. One of our most active networks in this region is the United Cities and Local Governments, or UCLG network. And I'd like to acknowledge the presence here today of the Secretary General for UCLG Africa, Monsieur Jean-Pierre Elong-Mbassi, who will be speaking this afternoon. But for now, we have a video statement from UCLG's Secretary General, Ms. Amelia Saïd.
From United Cities and Local Governments, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Cameroon, sisters and mentors, the Executive Director of UN Habitat, Maimouna Sharif, and very dear Excellency, Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Queen Mother Celestine Kecha-Curtis. Honorable Mayor, ministers, members, partners, and friends, World Habitat Day is a very special day for our constituency of local and regional governments. More so this year, with a ceremony in Cameroon, the cradle of great municipal activists and leaders that have played and will continue to play a key role in the century-old movement that United Cities and Local Governments represents. With pain in my heart for not being able to be with you in person today in beautiful Yaoundé, I can assure you that your voices and your vision will echo through United Cities and Local Governments the world round. Greetings from our leadership. The theme for this year's World Habitat Day, Accelerating Urban Action for Carbon-Free World, is a very critical topic for all of us. Cities is the space where a lot of our carbon emissions take place. But I would dare say that it is not the space that is responsible for those emissions only. The World Habitat Day this year needs to be indeed in the light of taking responsibility for the reduction of carbon emissions. Yes, it needs to be, but it also needs to be in the light of justice, of climate justice, of shared responsibility. It needs to be about solidarity, not only among countries, but also among people, among communities. There are many displaced people and populations due to climate change, and those numbers will only increase and grow in the coming years. There is no city, no single level of government, no single country that is able to deal with this alone. Our world and our societies are changing at a dizzying pace through the pandemic and through the climate crisis. We see urbanization growing at the same rate. Getting cities right will be critical indeed, and is a tool that we cannot avoid dealing with. If we want to deal with the challenges that our humanity is facing, we need to get cities and territories right. Not only big cities, but also medium-sized cities and the territories around them. Technical solutions will not be enough for the kind of transformation that we are asking our communities to assume and to embrace. Equitable, livable, resilient societies in solidarity and empathetic with democratic values, with sustainable vision, will need to emerge at the local level. These ideas will only be possible if the communities are behind them, because we will be asking for sacrifices, for more sacrifices, for those that have already sacrificed a lot. We can also not do it alone. We will need the support of national governments to tackle many of the challenges that we are discussing. We will need national governments to support cities to adopt technically feasible and available low carbon measures around buildings, sustainable buildings, around sustainable transportation, around different types of materials. The new urban agenda is a great tool to address these challenges. It is an enabler of the Sustainable Development Goals. It is an enabler of the Sustainable Development Goal 11 that sets out the kind of cities that we want for the future. The world has no boundaries today, and so we will only be able to do this together. We hope to stimulate a new relationship with nature. Ecologism is the way forward. The Green Deal, a worldwide just Green Deal. We will need to transform models, go beyond mitigation and adaptation strategy. We will need proximity, municipalism, a new type of leadership to deal with this. And we will need feminism, we will need equality, we will need accessibility to allow us to go for those transitions. Count on us, on United Cities and local governments as a network of networks, as a space where we serve the communities to continue shaping the agenda of the future together. Thank you.
Nous suivons à présent la déclaration du prix Nobel de la paix 2006, Mohamed Younous, fondateur de la première institution de microcrédit, Grameen Bank. Mohamed Younous est citoyen bangladais. Il est encore surnommé le banquier des pauvres.
Hello, I'm Mohamed Younous. I'm talking to you from Bangladesh. First, my greetings on this World Habitat Day. I'm very happy that we have an opportunity to work together with the UN Habitat through our organization, Younous Environment Hub. We are very happy with our work with the Wastewise partnership. This is just a small piece of the big problem that we have to face right now. But we must try. Everyone has to try, even the smallest way possible. So the beginning has to be made. Accumulation of those small things can become very, very large. That's what we should be aiming at. And when we talk about global warming, I try to give an image of a burning house. I said, we are living in a burning house. All people in the world living in our burning house, the earth. And inside that burning house, we are having celebrations. We are having parties, enjoyment of our economic successes, high growth rates, prosperities, even technological achievements, many things to celebrate. And we are having fun. We are having so much enjoyment inside of it. Seeing that fun, seeing that enjoyment, we immediately recognize that we are not seeing what is happening outside the house. The house itself is burning. And very soon, everything that we are doing inside will be totally meaningless because all burnt out. And that's what IPCC report is saying. IPCC report 2021 just came out. It's saying that we are in big, big danger. They highlight the urgency of it, immediacy of it. We have to act. We have to take actions to make a world free from global warming. We have to create a world of zero net carbon emission so that we neutralize everything. We are not burning, we are sustainable, and that's what we should be doing. What IPCC report is saying, that we will be heading for 1.5 degrees Celsius within 20 years. Either we'll reach that point, 1.5 degrees Celsius, or we'll overshoot that, go beyond it within these 20 years. That's very bad news. We have to make all our efforts to make sure that it doesn't happen. We stay away from 1.5 degrees Celsius because this is the yellow zone of the global warming. After we reach the 1.5 degrees Celsius, we reach the red zone. We don't want to get into the red zone. Red zone will be something that we cannot come back again. We cannot, even if you try our best, it will be extremely difficult to make this planet livable. That's where we are right now. So our focus is to create that zero net carbon emission, and it's possible through actions that we all know. Funny thing is, we know how to achieve zero net carbon emission. We know everything. All the steps are known. Simply, we are not doing it because these are decisions which are not very enjoyable to many of us. It's not the question of making it enjoyable. Even if it's hard work, it's a question of survival. We have to survive. And we have been saying that this world may not be a very welcoming world for our next generation, because next generation will face all the difficulties that we are now, scientists are telling us. And legitimately, our young generation is blaming us, the older generation, that we have stolen their future. Now, if our children are accusing us of that, we are stealing their future, what about our grandchildren? What would they say? They would say they have no future at all, right from the beginning, right from the very birth. So that's not the direction we want to go. So we want to take action. That's where the social business comes. And we have been talking about and engaging everything in a social business, creating social business to solve environmental problems. All the things that you can do, make them in small pieces and turn into a business model, but a social business model, meaning we make it sustainable. Money that is spent, money that we invest in the business comes back. It solves the problem, but the money comes back. Then we can reinvest that money. The business itself can grow. Social business simply means we are doing this business not to make money, but to solve people's problem, or the global problem like global warming. And that's what we do. So this is the core of our initiative and strategy that we have. And we have also launched something very interesting for you. We call it 30 clubs. We're inviting young people of the age from 12-year-old to 35-year-old. 5 of them can get together. 1 of the young person can take initiative, invite 4 other friends, form a 5-member 30 club. their whole dedication, commitment would be to create a 3-0 world. And number 1 0 is zero net carbon emission. Number 2, make it wealth concentration free, so that the wealth and people live together, not run away from each other. And number 3 will create a world of zero unemployment by unleashing the power of entrepreneurship in all of us. So I invite you to create those 3-0 clubs if you fall in that age group. If not, you invite others, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your schoolmates, whoever, who will be within that age. What we're trying to do, make this a network of young people, 5-member 3-0 clubs, forming globally, so that we can start doing small things globally and commit ourselves to make sure we create the world a 3-0 world. Good luck. Thank you very much. Again, greetings on the World Habitat Day.
So a clear reminder there from the Nobel Prize winner Muhammad Yunus that for a question of survival, because everyone's affected and everyone has a part to play. Our next speaker has certainly stepped up and has literally played his part to help vulnerable families in Africa. For the many sports fans among you, he will need no introduction. So here's a statement from UN Habitat's Goodwill Ambassador for Africa and international football star, Mr. Blaise Matuidi.
Bonjour à tous, c'est Blaise Matuidi qui vous parle. Je suis heureux de participer en visio aux célébrations de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat. Je suis honoré que l'ONU Habitat m'ait désigné comme ambassadeur de bonne volonté pour l'amélioration des conditions de vie des millions de personnes vivant dans les quartiers précaires en Afrique, composés en majorité d'enfants et de femmes. C'est pour cette raison que mon association Les Tremplins Blaise Matuidi s'est associée à l'ONU Habitat afin de s'assurer que le processus d'urbanisation ouvre des perspectives meilleures pour la population vivant dans les bidonvilles en Afrique à travers l'accès aux services de base, à l'emploi et à la sécurité. Je veux aussi soutenir le thème de cette Journée mondiale de l'habitat 2021 qui est une ville sans carbone. Nous devons œuvrer pour diminuer les conséquences des changements climatiques sur le cadre de vie des populations vulnérables. Je vous souhaite à tous une bonne journée.
We now have a statement from a remarkable young woman who's been actively campaigning on climate issues in her home country, Uganda, and beyond, and has come all the way here today to speak to you about her work. We welcome Leah Namugerwa.
Bonjour. My name is Leah Namgera. I'm a climate activist from Uganda, fighting for everyone in survival. I call myself the voice of the voiceless Africans. Ever since I got to know about climate change, my heart is saddened. It feels like I'm living a nightmare. My dreams are frustrated. My future is stolen. My present is broken. The climate isn't safe. And from that time, I stopped living like a child. I no longer cut cake on my birthdays. I instead plant trees as one of the ways to give back to the planet, to our dying planet. I mean, what better way to celebrate a birthday than to give a gift of life, which is a tree. I volunteered to be that wake-up call to the sleeping humans anytime I get an opportunity. The planet is undergoing a massive, uncontrolled experiment, rapidly revealing what happens when 2.6 million pounds of carbon dioxide per second, and still rising, are added to the atmosphere. All of humanity is participating in this experiment, either directly contributing to it or feeling its impacts. Humans have already warmed the planet by at least 1 degree Celsius by burning fossil fuels that eject heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere. Almost every part of the world is experiencing the effects of climate change. Half of the global population already lives in cities, and by 2050, 2/3 of the world's people are expected to live in urban areas. But one of the most pressing problems facing cities is environmental degradation. Therefore, poor air and water quality, insufficient water availability, waste disposal problems, and high energy consumption will worsen by the increasing population and demands of urban environments. Strong city planning will be essential in managing this and other difficulties as the world urban areas swell. If you aren't terrified by the climate breakdown, you don't understand its full irreversible implications. Strong city planning will be essential in managing this and other difficulties as the world urban areas swell. This is just the truth, and there's a good reason to say it. So far, we are not collectively scared enough to tear down the fossil fuel industry, and that needs to change very fast. When the world is trying to break away from fossil fuel, my nation and its neighbors are building a crude oil pipe. There are so many untold stories about the construction of the East African crude oil pipe, which is known as EACOP. It is so hurting that no one is bothered of the lost forest cover during the construction. No one is bothered of the lost homes of very many animals. No one is talking about the number of wild animals lost every day because of the construction of the East African crude oil. Who is there to stand in for the voiceless? Who cares what that happens out of the things that are achieved? In order to get to net zero, there's going to be need for governments to take bold decisions. We are not breaking our dependence on fossil fuels nearly fast enough. The gaps between words and actions are helping the fossil fuels companies grow and continue to pollute. There is need to ban most of the biggest city polluters. Cities have to come up with strategies for reducing overall car use and promote emission-free modes of travel like walking and cycling, and even encourage public transport, which has to be convenient, accessible, and affordable to convince people to use. Low carbon architecture is a very important sector that needs to be given quality time. The world has witnessed what Mother Nature can do when not planned for. The stability of nature can no longer be taken for granted. It is wise for low carbon design of buildings to go hand in hand with features that help mitigate the existing impacts of climate change, like heavy rainfalls and high temperatures. The way we get and use our energy consumes natural resources and emits greenhouse gases. You know, I'm getting tired of we are running out of time to act. Every year we keep saying the same thing. What are we waiting for? For the last tree to be cut? The last river to dry? What is that we are waiting for to see and know that we already ran out of time? There is an urgent need to turn to renewable energy to achieve a better, just, and more sustainable future for the planet. We must come together and through grassroots advocacy, create the change we need to see. We can all make a difference. It is time for our leaders to act because our future depends on it. Thank you so much.
La lutte contre le réchauffement climatique et les gaz à effet de serre a un avenir avec l'implication de la jeunesse africaine, représentée ici par Léa Namugerwa, qui nous vient de l'Ouganda, membre de l'association Fridays for Future Uganda. À présent, nous allons demander à Easy Group de nous introduire une vidéo qui a été préparée à l'occasion de l'événement qui nous rassemble dans cette salle. Cette vidéo va précéder la prise de parole de la représentante du Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, en la personne de Mme Célestine Ketcha-Courtes, ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain du Cameroun. La vidéo, s'il vous plaît, Easy Group.
J'étais hier à la région au service du gouverneur, c'était au mois de février. Elle a promis et nous sommes là aujourd'hui. Vive la République, vive son excellence. Merci.
Vous pouvez m'appeler le chien de chasse du président de la République, un chien blanc. Le chien de chasse. Quand le président montre l'orientation, on fonce. Quand il montre l'orientation, on fonce. Et sa pression sur nous, membres du gouvernement, est au profit des populations camerounaises qu'il affectionne tant. Il y a eu ce problème de copropriété qui est un concept nouveau pour nous, Camerounais, de syndic de copropriété. Le processus de son implantation prend du temps, mais on peut se réjouir à ce jour du fait que la situation est en train d'être maîtrisée et vous allez avoir vos clés. Les problèmes administratifs, c'est des problèmes administratifs. Chacun a déjà son appartement, son numéro et sa clé. Chers acquéreurs, je voudrais simplement rassurer les uns et les autres de ce que mon département ministériel, chien de chasse du président de la République, a pour ambition majeure de contribuer à l'atteinte de l'objectif visé par le chef de l'État, à savoir loger les Camerounais and leaving no one behind. On ne laissera personne derrière. D'où la subvention et l'accompagnement au financement qui vous seront transmises. C'est la raison pour laquelle je mets et je mettrai un point d'honneur à l'achèvement de ces projets par les entreprises sur les différents sites, afin que les acquéreurs qui ont payé de leur argent pour avoir ces logements puissent les intégrer au fur et à mesure. Permettez-moi de saluer ce que j'ai vu ce matin. Le comité de développement fait des jeunes habitants de cette cité-site de Bamabakoko. Je voudrais qu'on applaudisse cette initiative.
Le CODECIMAP, qui est une interface de collaboration pour les résidents entre eux d'une part et avec les administrations en charge de notre cité d'autre part. Cette jeune association a été mise sur pied par les résidents pour veiller à l'amélioration de leur cadre de vie et contribuer à l'entretien de ce joyau architectural promis et réalisé par son Excellence M. Paul Biya, président de la République du Cameroun, à qui nous disons merci. Nous voulons ici reconnaître que beaucoup d'efforts sont consentis pour le bien-être des populations résidentes de cette cité. Car au-delà des logements, plusieurs commodités ont été mises en place. Nous pouvons énumérer, entre autres, la création d'un centre de santé qui est là, un espace dédié au futur marché qui est là, juste derrière nous, des postes de police, l'éclairage public, une école, des trains d'évacuation d'eau et bien d'autres choses.
Et je commence déjà par remercier le chef de l'État, l'homme des grandes ambitions qui est passé aux grandes réalisations. Le Cameroun se développe au rythme d'une antilope et le galop comme ça. Je me sens bien ici, ici chez moi. Le Cameroun c'est mon petit paradis. Big up à vous qui t'emmène là-bas. Je vous pense. Mais il faut aussi que vous me pensez. Oh voyons, pensez. Comme je vous aime. Il faut aussi que vous m'aimez. Ça c'est dit. Je ne suis pas français. Non, non. suis à l'aise, oh, oh. C'est pour moi un cadeau d'être né Camerounais. C'est pour moi un cadeau d'être né à Koloniga. C'est pour moi un cadeau d'être de l'ouest, du nord et du sud-ouest. Oh mes frères, unissons-nous, peuple camerounais, tenons-nous main dans la main.
Madame le ministre, très chers membres du gouvernement, en ce jour, nous voulons d'abord remercier le président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya, qui, dans sa vision saine et claire, a pensé à ce projet, l'a instruit et l'a mis en œuvre à travers les membres du gouvernement, ainsi représentés par Madame le ministre et par Monsieur le ministre des Domaines et du Cadastre. Nous vous disons merci. Nous voulons particulièrement témoigner de notre gratitude à Madame le ministre pour votre bon sens et surtout l'attention que vous avez accordée à ce projet du chef de l'État dès votre nomination. Oui, Madame le ministre, c'est le lieu de vous dire merci pour votre sens de la communication, pour votre dynamisme, pour votre engagement, pour toutes vos initiatives, d'un seul cœur, d'une seule voix, avec une sincère gratitude. Nous disons encore merci au chef de l'État qui a pensé aux jeunes, qui a pensé à la population camerounaise, aux citoyens ordinaires. Nous vous promettons que nous nous engageons à en faire bon usage de ces bâtiments.
Comme vous le savez, le chef de l'État a instruit ce programme en vue de réduire le déficit des logements au Cameroun.
Merci. Cette vidéo, c'est la vidéo du 237. On a beaucoup plus vu le vert ou jaune, le drapeau tricolore, mais dans cette salle, nous ne sommes pas que le Cameroun. Il y a d'autres nations, d'autres États qui sont là. Est-ce qu'on peut voir les drapeaux des pays membres des Nations Unies qui sont présents ce matin parmi nous? Merci. Je vous invite à présent à suivre le discours du représentant du Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, en la personne de Mme Célestine Ketcha-Cortés, ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain du Cameroun.
Excellences, Madame la directrice exécutive d'ONU Habitat, my dear sister, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du gouvernement du Cameroun et des pays membres des Nations Unies, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs de mission diplomatiques, Monsieur le gouverneur de la région du centre représenté, Monsieur le préfet du département du Fundi, Monsieur le maire de ville de Yaoundé, Mesdames et Messieurs les maires, chers élus, sénateurs et députés à l'Assemblée nationale, Mesdames et Messieurs les directeurs généraux de sociétés publiques, parapubliques et privées, Messieurs les présidents des ordres professionnels du Cameroun, Leur Majesté, chef supérieur du Cameroun, autorités religieuses, chères reines-mères, chers invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, distinguées personnalités connectées de par le monde, ma dear Emilia, qu'il me soit permis de marquer ma profonde gratitude au Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement,
qui me fait l'insigne honneur de me désigner pour le représenter à cette importante rencontre internationale. It is a great honor for me to take the floor on this occasion of the celebration of the 2021 edition of World Habitat Day, placed under the distinguished patronage of the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya, Head of State. Let me start by wishing a warm welcome to all our guests from abroad and also to the participants from all corners of the world, especially the mayors, researchers, development partners, housing partners, as well as public and private sectors companies. I will not forget all those who have supported us from other countries through video conference and who have been connected to Yaoundé for a week now. Thanks so much, my sister, for the kind support that you bring to our organization. Mesdames et messieurs, chers invités, comme nous le savons tous, c'est à l'issue de l'Assemblée générale des Nations unies à travers sa résolution 40-202 du 17 décembre 1985 que le premier lundi du mois d'octobre a été désigné Journée mondiale de l'habitat. Cette journée met l'accent sur le droit fondamental de tous à un cadre de vie sain et interpelle à cet égard la communauté internationale sur sa responsabilité collective dans l'avenir de l'habitat humain. Elle rappelle au monde que nous avons tous le pouvoir et la responsabilité de réfléchir à l'état de nos villes et villages et par ricochet de façonner un bel avenir pour tous. Cette année, le thème retenu par le Programme des Nations Unies pour les établissements humains, ONU Habitat, pour cet important événement s'intitule « Accélérer l'action urbaine pour un monde sans carbone ». Assurément, dans l'optique de nous amener à mettre avec emphase l'attention sur l'importance d'un environnement urbain sain pour tout individu et promouvoir des politiques et stratégies de développement urbain durable. Gage d'une meilleure qualité de vie dans un contexte mondial d'urbanisation sans précédent, exacerbé par la pandémie de la COVID-19 qui impacte de manière drastique les conditions de vie des populations. Lors de la session de l'Assemblée du Programme des Nations Unies pour les établissements humains ONU Habitat, tenue à Nairobi, au Kenya, du 27 au 31 mai 2019, le Cameroun a été élu pour 4 ans au Conseil exécutif de cette organisation des Nations Unies. C'est une fois de plus pour le Cameroun un honneur d'abriter la célébration mondiale de la Journée mondiale édition 2021. Cela témoigne des excellents rapports qu'entretient le Cameroun avec les institutions internationales et en général avec ONU Habitat. Pour revenir, mesdames et messieurs, à la thématique de cette édition qui a fait l'objet de réflexions par des experts de haut niveau, il est à signaler qu'il urge de mener des actions concrètes dans diverses composantes pour sauvegarder notre planète. En effet, mesdames et messieurs distingués participants, tous les pays du monde sont témoins des graves répercussions du changement climatique. Les émissions de gaz à effet de serre continuent à augmenter et ont plus que doublé depuis 1990. Qui plus est, le réchauffement mondial provoque des modifications durables de notre système climatique qui font peser une menace conséquente, une menace aux conséquences irréversibles si nous n'agissons pas tout de suite. Et nous avons bien aimé la présentation de cette maison en feu dans laquelle nous nous trouvons. Nous nous réjouissons en oubliant que dehors, la maison prend feu et que l'objet de nos réjouissances sera réduit en cendres. Vraiment, je vous demande encore d'applaudir cette image du prix Nobel de la paix. renforcer la capacité de résistance et d'adaptation des régions les plus vulnérables, tels que les pays industrialisés et les pays en développement, doit aller de pair avec les efforts pour sensibiliser et incorporer des mesures dans les politiques et stratégies nationales. Il est encore possible, avec la volonté politique et un large éventail de mesures technologiques, de limiter la hausse de la température mondiale moyenne. Cela implique une action de tous. Cela implique une action collective et une action urgente. Une des actions à mener en relation avec les ODD 7 et 11 serait d'améliorer de façon significative l'efficacité énergétique du secteur de la construction. En effet, ce secteur est particulièrement concerné par la consommation d'énergie, les impacts sur le climat et l'épuisement des ressources difficilement renouvelables. Cette situation a des conséquences environnementales, sociétales et économiques très lourdes. Bien que dévastatrice dans son impact, la pandémie Covid-19 a mis en lumière quelques leçons importantes pour faire face à la crise climatique. Par exemple, l'augmentation du travail à distance devrait permettre de décongestionner le trafic à long terme et de réduire la nécessité perçue de construire toujours plus de routes pour répondre à la demande de déplacement en voiture. Dans le même temps, il convient d'améliorer les infrastructures pour la marche et le vélo et de rendre le transport urbain plus sobre en carbone et plus ouvert. L'accès à une énergie fiable et propre est essentiel pour toute une série d'activités allant du travail à distance à l'éclairage et à la cuisson des aliments en passant par le maintien des chaînes de froid pour l'acheminement des médicaments et des vaccins. Mesdames et messieurs, distingués participants, le thème de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat rappelé plus haut est particulièrement pertinent à la lumière de la prochaine COP26 qui se tiendra à Glasgow, au Royaume-Uni, du 1er au 12 novembre 2021. En effet, pour nombre de pays en développement ou sur la voie de l'émergence, parmi lesquels le Cameroun, la réduction des émissions de gaz à effet de serre reste conditionnée à un soutien de la communauté internationale, notamment les pays industriels, sous forme de financement, de renforcement de capacités et de transfert de technologies. Je saisis donc l'occasion de cette JMH 2021 pour lancer un vibrant appel à l'endroit de tous, les États, les organismes internationaux, les gouvernements, les collectivités territoriales décentralisées, les organisations non gouvernementales, les organisations de la société civile, les experts de haut niveau, les chercheurs et universitaires, bref, à l'ensemble des habitants du monde, à œuvrer de façon urgente et efficace à la réalisation des piliers du développement urbain durable pour les établissements résilients et la réduction des gaz à effet de serre et bien sûr les méfaits du changement climatique. Je ne terminerai pas mon propos sans féliciter Madame Maïmouna Maud Sharif et toute son équipe. I really want to thank you, DE. I really want to thank you for all what you have done for us this week, for being here personally to celebrate this global celebration of World Habitat Day. Je voudrais donc vous saluer et toute votre équipe pour la parfaite organisation de cette cérémonie aux côtés de nos équipes. Ma reconnaissance va bien sûr au président de la République pour les très hautes instructions visant à saisir le thème annuel de célébration pour évaluer l'atteinte des cibles ODD dans notre pays. Je formule le vœu qu'à l'issue des échanges que je souhaite fructueuses et enrichissantes, qu'une task force multisectorielle soit mise sur pied pour définir les mécanismes d'implémentation des importantes recommandations que nous continuerons d'enregistrer cet après-midi autour des 4 importants thèmes qui seront débattus. Aussi, ces recommandations associées aux recommandations de notre semaine de l'habitat permettront aux États de prendre des décisions sur la base des données statistiques et des données existantes. Je vous souhaite donc des sessions de travail fructueuses et constructives et un agréable séjour à nos partenaires qui nous viennent du monde entier dans notre Cameroun, terre de paix et d'accueil, pour que vive la coopération internationale, vive la Journée mondiale de l'habitat, vive le Cameroun et son illustre chef, Son Excellence M. Paul Biya, Président de la République, chef de l'État. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Honourable Minister, for sharing these very important messages. So we now move to one of the most important parts of the global observance of World Habitat Day that happens every year, the awarding of the prestigious UN Habitat Scroll of Honour to 5 highly deserving winners. Before the certificates are handed out, we can see a short video about the 5 winners and their work. I'd like to call up the award winners one by one to receive their certificates from the UN Habitat Executive Director and invite them to say a few words. Our first Scroll of Honour winner is New Urban Communities Authority, NUCA, Egypt, for its long-term role in achieving sustainable urbanization. The certificate will be received by the Vice Minister of Housing, Khalid Mahmoud Abbas. Thank you, if you would come.
On behalf of Dr. Asif Ghazar, Minister of Housing and Urban Communities, who wished to be here to share this moment with you all. I feel deeply honored, thanks to the selection committee. It's also a pleasure to meet and spend time with the UN Habitat officials and members. It's an honor to have and receive the UN Habitat Scroll of Honor, one of the most prestigious prizes presented to NUCA for working tirelessly on many sustainable urbanization projects. New Urban Communities, NUCA was established in 1979. NUCA is mandated to support the government of Egypt to progress sustainable urbanized projects aligned with Egypt's Vision 2030, targeting to double the urban context of Egypt, enhancing the quality of life for the Egyptian citizen by improving the urban environment and ensuring it is healthy, offering good services to all. NUCA also supported the national mega projects for regeneration and upgrading to ensure a better quality of life for all, to create a fair, affordable urban context in Egypt. It's impossible to convey and summarize all extraordinary projects developed over the past few years, but I would like to share with you a summary of that. Today we have a very ambitious project, building 1 million units for social housing and another 2,050 for middle income. And this is what we received the prize for it. We have provided 700,000 units up till now. Not only that, our mission also includes consistent and delivering units in terms of connectivity, affordability, services, as well as flexible payment scheme. NUCA played a significant role in building resilient cities in support of zero carbon emissions target by creating green areas, sustainable transit system, and ensuring renewable energy by creating free carbon cities in new communities. We work on raising awareness of rational consumption of electricity and water by approving and applying innovative solutions through establishing photovoltaic PV solar power stations, solar heaters on roofs, and street LED lighting system in our new cities. We are strong believers in our social responsibility towards our country, and it's a pleasure to provide that UN Habitat acknowledges our effort and what we do. This award crowns the joint effort of New Urban Communities Authority in Egypt and UN Habitat in working together in various fields, especially the acceleration of urban development, sustainable development in building cities, construction of new cities, as well as the phenomena of undeveloped settlement and rehabilitating residents to affordable housing. Once again, I thank you all for this honor. That's I'm incredibly pleased to accept, and thank you all again. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate our next winner, Shining Hope for Communities, or SHOFCO, from Kenya. This is for being a leading example of community-led change to eradicate extreme poverty in Kenya's urban slums. I call up SHOFCO Gender Director, Ms. Caroline Sakwa, to receive the certificate and to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister, Ms. Maimuna, honorable guests, all protocols observed. My name is Caroline Sakwa, the Gender Director for Shining Hope for Communities. I'm honored to be here today accepting the UN Habitat Scroll of Honor Award on behalf of SHOFCO. SHOFCO is a community-led organization that works to eradicate poverty in Kenya in urban slums. It was founded in 2004 by our founder, Mr. Kennedy Odede. We work in 24 slums in Nairobi, in Kenya. In 2020, we impacted around 204 million people in urban slums. SHOFCO holistic model has 3 pillars. One is the critical services approach. We have the community engagement and advocacy approach. We have education, leadership, and development for women and girls. Areas of service delivery, we have the healthcare provision, we have clean water and sanitation, hygiene, We have gender-based violence resources and economic empowerment for women and girls. Key to SHOFCO's work is the integration between service provision and grassroots community, people participation and engagement in finding solutions to any problems they are facing in the community. The innovative approach of SHOFCO that it takes community development is the key driver to ensuring a long-term systematic change is created and transformed within urban slums in Kenya. This award is a crucial recognition of an important of community-led change, underlining the sustainable of SHOFCO's work. In partnership with UN Habitat, SHOFCO worked in Kilifi County, that is the coastal area of Kenya, to ensure that the residents had access to fresh water, hand washing station, and sanitation during the COVID pandemic. This attributed to attitude change and behavior change of people of Kilifi during the pandemic period. SHOFCO has become a leading organization in Kenya, urban slums. In 2020, a study commissioned by the Canadian government found that SHOFCO was the most well-known organization that provided COVID relief in the informal settlement. It is an honor to stand before you today and accept this award on behalf of my CEO, Kennedy Odede, SHOFCO staff, and the slum dwellers, the residents of all informal settlements in Kenya. We say thank you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much. The next winner is Baoji City, People's Republic of China, for its innovative housing provision project benefiting low and middle income residents. Unfortunately, they couldn't join us today, but they have sent this video.
感谢联合国人居署执行主任谢丽夫女士，感谢联合国人居署对宝鸡市以绿色低碳发展理念为中低收入居民建设保障性住房项目的高度认可。非常遗憾，因为新冠疫情影响，不能前往现场和大家共同庆祝世界人居日。宝鸡市位于中国西部，是著名的丝绸之路西出欧亚的重要通道，是中华文明重要发源地之一。中国二字就最早见于宝鸡出土的铸造于3000多年前的青铜器盒尊。宝鸡市持续努力，为25.3万中低收入居民提供保障性住房。这次获奖，体现了以人民为中心，让居者有其屋的价值理念得到了广泛的认同。真诚欢迎各位朋友抽时间来宝鸡看中国，谢谢各位。
I would next like to congratulate the fourth winner, Let's Do It World, LDIW, Estonia, for organizing 3 World Cleanup Days with outstanding results. I welcome their president and head of the global network, Ms. Heidi Solber.
Thank you so much for this great award. Honorable guests, honorable nature lovers, environmentalists, great leaders of the world, thank you for the great award. This great award is belonging to each leader and team member in Let's Do It World family. And we have families in 164 countries, including Let's Do It Cameroon. Here she is. And I want to say, thank you. And I want to say that the Let's Do It is in so many countries doing incredible work. Everybody are doing like volunteering. I think that this award is belonging to many organizations, to many youth movements, to many green environmentalists who are working each day for environment. Why we are doing it? Our biggest campaign, what we are running, is the World Cleanup Day. We have done 4 World Cleanup Days, and this year we engage 191 countries and territories worldwide. And millions of people we cannot calculate anymore. Why we are doing it? Because we want to change, to have the change in the world. It's not a question about cleaning up. We have been witness at beaches where you cannot see the sand because it's covered by the plastic, by the waste. We have witnessed the rivers which is covered by the waste, and you cannot see the water in many countries, including here. So this is why we are doing it. We want to engage the communities. We want to have really growth momentum to bring together different kinds of organizations, institutions, and give the hope that we can do it together and we can change the world if we are collaborating. You see, we have worked 6 years with cleanups. We have done many projects with youth. And we know that we are in one thing what we are needing, and this is a global collaboration between different kinds of stakeholders inside one country, between communities, between the governments, and this is a human's power and human's will. This is what we need. If we have this secret ingredient to work together to make the change happen, then we can achieve a lot in the world. I think the Let's Do It is exactly about that. We are not talking, we are doing. That's why we are Let's Do It. And we are inviting all the people around the world, all the institutions, organizations, governments, communities, to take action each day, each second, because this is your home, our world. And the problem which is here is everybody's person's problem. Problem in Chile or whatever country is a problem of every nationality in the world. The world is not big, and we have to act really boldly. And it means to work out of the comfort zone. Only then we are achieving a lot. Thank you so much. It belongs to Let's Do It Cameroon, to many great Let's Do It world leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And finally, all the way from Chile, our 5th winner is Ciudad Emergente, recognized for its innovative approach on piloting a shared streets concept for low-carbon cities. I invite the co-founder and executive director, Mr. Javier Bergana Petrescu, to come and receive the certificate.
On behalf of all the people of Ciudad Emergente, all my colleagues, I'm deeply thankful to be with you today in Cameroon, receiving this prestigious UN Habitat Scroll of Honor Award, celebrating also the World Habitat Day to accelerate climate action. I'm very happy, but I'm also deeply concerned that our streets are dangerous for people and for the planet. For people, because the number of deaths, the world's roads remains unacceptably high. I'll tell you a little story. I survived a very bad car accident. This was with one of my very best friends 15 years ago. We were younger, we were a little bit crazier. Sadly, the accident went so bad that he ended up on a wheelchair for a lifetime. Luckily, he is alive, but his life changed forever. My life changed too. Streets are places where people are killed every single day. 1.3 million people each year die on our streets. More than 10 million people died every year because of the air pollution. The planet is dying because of our CO2 emissions. The decisions that we take every day affect our life and our planet. I'm going to just ask a little question. How many of you came today walking to this venue? You can raise your hand. How many of you walked today to come to this venue? No one raised a hand. How many of you ride a bicycle to come here today? A vélo. How many of you? How many of you ride public transportation to come here today? I don't see any hand raised up. How many of you came by car today? Most of us, including myself. Well, that's another kind of pandemic. Just go out to the streets and look. Streets, sadly, in Cameroon are dangerous. But not only here. The rates of traffic deaths in Africa and Southeast Asia are the highest. That's a big problem. Moreover, the vulnerables that are dying are people who are walking and doing by bicycle or motorcyclists. Back in Chile, I ride my bicycle every day when I go to work. But I know that many people don't want to do it because they feel unsafe. Women feel unsafe because the streets are not safe. Janet Sadiq Khan, the former commissioner of transportation of the city of New York, once said, if you can change the street of your city, you can change the world. I found that quote super inspiring. And that actually put us the thought in our mind, why don't we do a shared street project for low carbon cities? What if we imagine safer streets for people and the planet? So we created a shared street project that reduced the amount of cars in the streets and increased the multi-use spaces for people. Cars are also invited, but are not the only ones. It's a people-oriented project where you can increase the number of cyclists, and we could reduce in 9 times the number of CO2 emissions of our streets. We were not alone doing this. We did it with international collaboration. We did it with cooperation from the UK. Later on, we brought that knowledge to other countries in Central America. We did it in Panama. We've done it in Honduras. And happily, at this very moment that I'm talking to you right now, in Danlí, the city in Central America, Honduras, they are implementing a permanent project of shared streets after doing a pilot. My point is this. If we're going to find a solution to make streets safer and tackle the climate crisis, it will be through international cooperation. We need to learn and trust from each other. We need to empower our local communities, and we have to believe in our human capital here. And we have to enforce it and empower it. Finally, I would like to give up a little tip for the ones who want to make change. Use the power of pilots. Cities are home to some of the most innovative and inclusive actions to fight climate crisis, and often these ideas are tested through innovative pilot projects. For sure, a small pilot project will not change the reality of the whole city, but it can certainly switch the mindset of people. Pilots can inspire people, and when they are successful, they can upscale beyond the city, serving as tangible actions for a carbon-free world. Claudio Orrego, the governor of the metropolitan city of Santiago, once told me, start small, think big, and scale it up fast. So if you need some help for doing those kind of projects, please count with us. We'll be happy to help. Merci, muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite all our Scroll of Honour winners to come back up to the stage with their certificates, and we have a photograph of you all. I'd like to invite the Minister and Executive Director to join. Could we have all the Scroll of Honour winners, please? Okay, thank you so much, and congratulations once again to our Scroll of Honour winners. So now we'll see a video that's very relevant actually to the last speech you heard, as well as to the theme of World Habitat Day this year. It's a preview of an upcoming joint report from UN Habitat and UN Environment Programme on inspiring action on walking and cycling in Africa. As you know, cars are responsible for a large proportion of greenhouse gases, so this report is to encourage everyone to get out of their cars and get some air. So let's watch the video.
We're all pedestrians. Every single trip, even those in private vehicles, and especially those in public transport, start and end with walking. Of all transport modes, walking and cycling are the most affordable and sustainable. Investing in inclusive, green, active mobility, alongside reliable public transport networks, reduces pollution and improves public health and well-being. It creates more livable, equitable, and prosperous cities. In Africa, walking is the primary form of transport for the majority of people. More than 3/4 of the population walk for transport every day to access opportunities. However, most streets in African cities are without safe space for walking and cycling. This makes the experience difficult, unpleasant, and incredibly dangerous. To encourage the development of safe, low-carbon, resilient, and sustainable mobility in Africa, the UN Environment Programme, UN Habitat, and the Walk 21 Foundation have collaborated to develop the Inspiring Action for Walking and Cycling in Africa publication. The first of its kind report showcases conditions in all 54 countries. It analyzes data sets through a walking and cycling lens to illustrate the everyday reality for the 1 billion people in Africa who walk and cycle every day. It highlights the urgent need to take action, but also presents inspiring actions already taken across the continent. This report sets out recommendations for governments and other stakeholders and aims to inspire actions that retain, enable, and protect those already moving in the most sustainable way possible.
Fleets are growing, urbanization is ongoing, and we've seen every day the results of this. Congestion, pollution, climate emissions are going up, and also road accidents in the cities in Africa. So we see a trend that is not sustainable. And we have a very short window to change that, to go from a car-based urbanization to a human-based urbanization, from an individual car use mobility to a mobility designed in our cities around human mobility. Human mobility means that we design cities where people like to live, where people like to go and socialize, but also cities where companies want to invest in and work from. The current situation in Africa is that although the situation is not bad, we have not so much air pollution as many other cities in other regions. We still have a large share of people walking, but the trend is not good. The people that are walking are not doing that because they want to, because they have to. The air quality is rapidly deteriorating, and so is congestion. So we have a short window of opportunity to do something about this. Luckily, already 19 countries in Africa out of 54 have now walking and cycling policies and starting to recognize that part of the solution is introducing the facilities for people to walk and cycle, to introduce mass transit, as to keep our cities livable. UNEP, UN Habitat, and Walk21 are working together to support those cities in these countries. Support them with policy development, support them with projects, support them with infrastructure, working with NGOs, and also launching a number of publications to help them shift to human-based mobility.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, on the occasion of World Habitat Day, I'm delighted to join you for the preview of the report entitled Inspiring Action for Walking and Cycling in Africa, which was jointly produced with UNEP and Walk21. Progress on SDG 11 can only be achieved if we improve transport in our cities. Target 11.2 calls for universal access to safe, affordable, accessible, and sustainable transport systems. At this point, our cities cannot accept any further delays. We have to plan transport in a way that it addresses climate change, air pollution, and road fatalities. Walkable access to public transport is critical, especially for women, children, persons with disabilities, and older persons. UN Habitat's data shows that only 31.7% of the population in Africa have convenient access to public transport, the lowest in the world. Going forward, it is important to implement sustainable multimodal transport systems and the inclusion of non-motorized connectivity as a key element for this. Let's also pay attention to road safety, as African countries are among the least safe places to walk and cycle in the world. Around 261 pedestrians and 18 cyclists are killed throughout the continent every day. While Africa has only 3% of the world's registered vehicles, it has 20% of global road traffic deaths. The lack of essential infrastructure makes the experience of walking and cycling in African countries difficult, unpleasant, and dangerous. We do not know the true cost of road fatalities in African countries. Many countries in Africa record road safety data, but they only have very seldom differentiate between pedestrians and cyclists. We need better data so that we may act to protect the people who walk and cycle. Last year, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a new resolution on improving global road safety, which launched a second decade of action for road safety. It recognizes that addressing road safety requires a comprehensive set of actions, including the promotion of equitable and sustainable modes of transport, in particular public transport and safe walking and cycling. Thank you very much for your attention.
People walking and cycling are the heart of our communities and the foundation of our sustainable mobility systems. In Africa, where the vast majority of people walk every day, they do so on streets and roads that are not safe or comfortable. 95% of the roads assessed by IRAP in Africa fail to provide for an acceptable level of service for pedestrians, and 93% fail for cycling. With such poor provision, it's not surprising that people seek to buy their way out of these modes as income levels rise. But this risks an intensification of our existing problems: strained infrastructure, poor safety levels, low air quality, and congested motorised traffic. Neighbourhoods for people on foot or bicycle are safer for everyone, enhance social interaction, and ensure accessibility for people to go about their daily lives. Our streets need to be more than just possible to walk or ride along. Although the numbers may fluctuate, people will continue to walk and cycle for many decades to come, no matter what other transport options are built or improved upon. We need to start now. We need to value walking and cycling more, build better facilities, and invite people of all ages and abilities to use them. We need to increase people's satisfactions with their walking and cycling journeys so they become a mode of choice, not just necessity. Car-free events, as we've seen them across the continent, are a proven intervention that helps reimagine the way public space is organised and grows awareness of the demand for walking and cycling. They illustrate that it can be an enjoyable experience and foster change. Car-free zones can be a permanent celebration of people that walk and cycle. Let's put people walking and cycling at the heart of planning and investment. They are the solution to the multiple challenges we face and very often at lower costs than the alternatives. To foster this direction, Walk 21 is proud to be part of this important movement, which consolidates the data and provides true inspiration for politicians, practitioners and advocates across Africa.
C'est la fin de cette vidéo qui vise à inspirer l'action en faveur de la marche à pied et du cyclisme en Afrique. Marcher à pied, ce ne sera plus un signe de pauvreté, mais plutôt une action pour l'amélioration du climat urbain et la fin de l'émission, la réduction des émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Il nous reste une dernière articulation avant de mettre fin à la cérémonie de ce matin. Cette articulation porte sur la remise des prix des activités organisées par le Cameroun dans le cadre de ce qu'on a appelé la semaine de l'habitat. Nous aurons deux prix. Il y a le prix concours Ville propre, présidé par, dont le jury est présidé par le directeur général du Fonds d'équipement et d'intervention intercommunale, le FECOM. Le deuxième concours qui a été organisé par le ministère de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain, c'est un concours d'idées urbaines pour un projet urbain qui a été lancé par Mme Célestine Ketcha-Cortès, ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain. Mais avant cela, une petite détente avec Big Mami Agatha, City Changer from Limbe. Big Mami Agatha, qui a été invitée ce matin, et qui est un acteur du développement urbain dans la ville de Limbe, va nous permettre de nous détendre pour quelques minutes.
Salut à tout le monde. Bon après-midi à tout le monde. On a un petit truc pour vous. Merci beaucoup, Madame la Ministre.
This is the latest song that won in Limbe. Please, can you appreciate it?
Call me Clean City. I'm a city changer. Call me Clean City. Oh, city changer. Call me Clean City. I'm a city changer. Call me Clean City. Limbe City. Limbe City. Limbe City. Yeah. Limbe City.
Limbe City is a place to be. The town of French make a tell you now. Don't throw it dirty, forgot her. Don't throw smelly water for us. No bomb tire for us. No big house around where water the pass. If you be so street, no be good tea. Throw it all dirty, never just be.
I'm a city changer. Call me Clean City. I'm a city changer. Call me Clean City. Oh, city changer. Call me Clean City. I'm a city changer. Call me Clean City. Limbe City. Limbe City. Limbe City. Yeah. Limbe City.
Big Mami Agatha. It is a rum-a-bum. Let it flicker, let it clack, and make it safer. Pieces of paper, make the person tidy. Pick them up, pick them up. Peelings of banana, peelings of them mama. Everybody, let's do it. Join the hands, pick them up. Keep our city clean.
I'm a city changer. Call me clean city. I'm a city changer. Call me clean city. Oh, city changer. Call me clean city. I'm a city changer. Call me clean city. Limbe city. Limbe city.
Big Mommy Agata.
Limbe city. Yeah. Limbe city.
Come on down one, come on two, come on down three, and you can down. Allah, what you doing? Jai, Baba, Jai. This is our paper, make it so tidy. Pick them up, pick them up. This is our paper, pieces of banana, make it so tidy. Pick them up. I beg, not your way, come down for road, put them for inside dustbin. Church Street, be careful. Hello, I can never charagabo.
Thank you.
Merci, Big Mami. Nous invitons le directeur général du FECOM, Philippe Camille Akouan, pour la phase de la remise des prix de concours Ville propre.
Douala, Garoua, Boya, Yaoundé, Bamenda, Bafoussam, Bertois, Ebolova, Maroua, Ngaoundéré. À l'occasion de la célébration internationale de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat qui aura lieu à Yaoundé le 4 octobre en présence de la directrice exécutive de ONU Habitat, le ministère de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain organise le traditionnel concours Ville propre. Un appel aux communautés à redoubler d'efforts dans l'entretien et la préservation de l'environnement urbain des populations au travers des travaux de nettoyage, des collectes de déchets, du curage des carnivaux, drains et bien d'autres. L'an passé, c'est plusieurs tonnes de déchets qui ont pu être collectés à travers le Cameroun. Après la ville de Limbé, qui se verra octroyer le prix de la ville la plus propre du Cameroun.
Merci. Madame le ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain, représentant personnel de Monsieur le Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, Madame le ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain a lancé au début de cette année une campagne nationale d'hygiène et de salubrité qui avait l'un de ses pendants qui est le concours Ville propre. Donc je voudrais tout de suite vous donner les résultats de ce jeu concours et désigner en même temps les personnalités qui remettront le prix. Alors nous commencerons par le prix spécial qui est décerné à la commune de Mbengui dans le nord-ouest. Le prix lui sera remis par son Excellence Monsieur l'ambassadeur d'Égypte au Cameroun. Il n'y a pas un représentant de la ville de Bangui? Ok, d'accord. Donc, ok, d'accord. Merci. Le 9e prix sera remis à la commune de Ngara, dans la Damawa. Donc si le maire de Ngara est là. Le représentant de la commune de Ngara, oui. Oui. Le prix lui sera remis par monsieur le représentant du maire de la ville de Yaoundé. Merci. Le 8e prix sera remis à la commune de Berthois 1er. Le maire de la commune de Berthois 1er. Ce prix lui sera remis par Madame le secrétaire d'État auprès du ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain, chargé de l'Habitat. Madame le secrétaire d'État. Le 7e prix sera remis à la commune d'arrondissement de Garoua 2e, monsieur le maire de la commune d'arrondissement de Garoua 2e. Ce prix sera remis par Madame le ministre des Affaires sociales. Merci. Le 6e prix sera remis à la commune de Banganté. D'accord, oui. Ce prix sera remis par Madame le ministre de la Promotion de la Femme et de la Famille. Le 5e prix sera remis à la Crème Nord. Et ce prix sera remis par Monsieur le ministre de l'Emploi et de la Formation professionnelle. D'accord, merci. Le 4e prix revient à la commune de Yaoundé 5e. Le prix sera remis par Monsieur le coordonnateur résident du système des Nations Unies au Cameroun. Est-ce qu'il est là? D'accord, merci. Le 3e prix sera remis à la commune de Boya, dans le sud-ouest. Commune de Boya. Donc le prix sera remis par le secrétaire général de CGLUA. D'accord. Le 2e prix sera remis à la commune d'arrondissement de Douala 2e. Donc ce prix sera remis par Monsieur le ministre des Mines. Le premier prix sera décerné à la commune d'arrondissement d'Ebolova 2e.
On a gagné, on a gagné, on a gagné, oh oh, on a gagné, on a gagné, on a gagné. On y va tout le monde, on y va tout le monde. Les Africains, tout le monde.
Le premier prix d'une valeur de 100 millions de francs.
On a gagné, on a gagné, on a gagné, oh oh, on a gagné, on a gagné. Réveillez-vous, on a gagné, on a gagné. Réveillez-vous les Africains, on a gagné. Les gens vous regardent, les gens vous regardent. On a gagné, Cheba. On a gagné, on a gagné, on a gagné. Oh, on a gagné, on a gagné, on a gagné. On y va. Oh, gagné. Est-ce que ça va? Gagné. Est-ce que ça va? Gagné.
D'accord. D'accord. Merci beaucoup. Mais avant de terminer, Madame le ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain me demande d'annoncer que la Journée mondiale de l'habitat au Cameroun de l'année prochaine se célébrera à Bertois.
Nous nous acheminons vers la fin de la cérémonie avec la dernière phase des récompenses. En prélude à la célébration de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat 2021, le ministère de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain a lancé un concours d'idées urbaines. Et ce concours a donné droit à 3 lauréats. Le premier lauréat, le premier qui sera appelé ici, a réalisé un parc aquascope. Ce parc aquascope est prévu pour voir le jour dans la ville de Limbé. C'est le 3e prix. Le 2e prix revient au promoteur d'un projet de revalorisation du maillot Kaliao dans la ville de Maroua. Il s'agit d'une proposition d'un modèle urbain écologique dans la ville de Maroua. Le 1er prix, quant à lui, revient à un projet de valorisation des zones humides au Cameroun, proposition d'un aménagement du cours d'eau Victoria, c'est dans la commune d'arrondissement de Limbé 1er. Nous invitons les récipiendaires à bien vouloir s'avancer. Troisième prix, numéro d'anonymat. C'est l'anonymat qui est ici. CIPU 2110. Le promoteur du projet CIPU 2110 qui a fait un projet de parc aquascope à Limbé. Le prix lui sera remis par Madame la secrétaire d'État au MINDU chargée de l'habitat, Madame Marie-Rose Dibon. Le deuxième prix, c'est le projet de valorisation du maillot Kaliao, proposition d'un modèle urbain écologique à Maroua. Le prix sera remis aux récipiendaires, au lauréat par le vice-ministre égyptien du Logement. Venez à l'estrade, le vice-ministre se trouve à l'estrade. Le lauréat s'avance aussi. Le promoteur du projet de revalorisation du maillot Kaliao. Le premier prix, c'est le projet de valorisation des zones humides au Cameroun, proposition d'un aménagement du cours d'eau Victoria dans l'arrondissement de Limbe. Le lauréat, le prix lui sera remis par Mme Maïmouna Mour-Sharif, directrice exécutive d'ONU Habitat. Le lauréat, tous les lauréats du prix d'idées qui reviennent pour la photo d'ensemble avec les personnalités assises à l'estrade. Les promoteurs des 3 projets attendez, il y a 2 qui arrivent encore.
So a huge congratulations to all the winners. I think you've really done an excellent, excellent job. Please continue the good work. So this really brings us to the end of the official opening ceremony of World Habitat Day. I'd like to thank all our distinguished guests who've joined us here and virtually, and of course the audience as well who are here and they're also online. Before we close, I'd just like to explain the next arrangements. We will have a photograph for VIPs and dignitaries here in the hall. So please, VIPs, dignitaries, stay behind for the photograph. Then there will be lunch for everybody downstairs. We will have the round tables in the afternoon. At 2 o'clock sharp, the round tables will start. Those interested in renewable energy should come back to this room. Those who want to go to the discussion on mobility should go to La Salle des Actes downstairs. Then at 3:30, the next 2 roundtables, one on climate change financing for African cities here, and the other on reducing waste, again in the Salle des Actes. For colleagues online, please consult the UN Habitat Urban October website for the links. In the evening, there will be the gala by invitation only. So I do hope our audience, both here and online, will join us for the fascinating set of roundtables for this afternoon. And I would like to thank you for joining us and give the last word to my colleague. Thank you.
Merci, Suzy. Nous sommes arrivés au terme de la cérémonie protocolaire marquant la célébration internationale de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat 2021 au Cameroun. Voici comment se déroulera la fin. La photo de famille sera faite ici à l'estrade et prendront part à cette photo de famille les différentes personnalités ici représentées, celles qui sont à l'estrade à la tribune d'honneur, les membres du gouvernement camerounais, les responsables et invités d'ONU Habitat. Et cette photo, après la photo, nous allons nous diriger à la salle du cercle municipal où il y a un déjeuner qui est offert. Après ce déjeuner, la presse se dirigera vers la salle des actes, bâtiment principal de la communauté urbaine de Yaoundé, pour le point de presse. Ils prendront part comme personnalité Madame le ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain, représentant du Premier ministre du gouvernement, Madame Maïmouna Motsharif, directeur exécutif de ONU Habitat, et le responsable de ONU Habitat au niveau du continent africain. Et il y aura la presse. Après ce point de presse, nous rappelons que dans l'après-midi, nous avons 4 tables rondes. 2 se dérouleront dans cette salle. La table ronde numéro 1 sur les ressources renouvelables pour la atténuation du changement climatique en milieu urbain. Et la table ronde numéro 4 qui portera sur le financement du changement climatique dans les villes africaines, combler les lacunes de financement pour une urbanisation résiliente au changement climatique en Afrique. Quant à la table ronde numéro 3 et numéro 2, elles se dérouleront à la salle des actes. Numéro 2 porte sur Ville propre pour tous, vers un monde sans carbone ni déchets. La table ronde numéro 3 porte sur le thème Action climatique urbaine par une planification et une mobilité à faible émission de carbone. Que le protocole invite les différentes personnalités concernées par la photo de famille et les dirige vers les stades où nous sommes pour la photo de famille. Nous vous disons merci pour votre participation.
Tu manques à l'appel, yo. Tu manques à l'appel. Chérie, tu manques à mon cœur, yo. Tu manques à l'appel. Amour, tu manques à l'appel, yo. Tu manques à l'appel. Chérie, tu manques à mon cœur. Tu manques à mon cœur.
Merci. Nous voulons demander aux uns et aux autres de reprendre leur place assise et de permettre que le protocole ordonnance la sortie de la salle. Nous voulons par ailleurs rappeler qu'il y a le village de l'habitat qui est ouvert à la sortie de cette salle dans la cour de ce bâtiment qui nous abrite, la cour avant du bâtiment principal du conseil régional du centre. Le village de l'habitat garde ses portes ouvertes pour vous. Les feux d'artifice célèbrent le succès de cette cérémonie de célébration internationale de la Journée mondiale de l'habitat 2021.
Deux fois la vie nous fait mal, parce qu'il y a certains trucs banals qui nous lient à l'instinct animal. La vie est comme une laide femme difficile à quitter. Et quand souffrance nous a fait, alors on n'a qu'à prier, alors on n'a qu'à chanter, alors on n'a qu'à crier. Car la vie, c'est des hauts et des bas, mon ami, soyons forts. Madame Sim, then I'm a new bam summer.